And Mikel Antonio's got me motivated. It has to be said. I've been reading a sort of transcript of his interview or some sort of podcast that he did. He should take up motivational speaking, actually. I feel more confident about tonight's game having read the article than I did before it. In fact, some of his words sounded very familiar. I thought, whose words are these? And I started to think of Gerard Butler. I know, it's not the obvious thing, not the actor. A character Gerard Butler played. If you've watched the film, you're probably with me by now. King Leonidas. If you've seen the film 300, it's about 300 Spartan warriors, the Battle of Thermopylae. King Xerxes, who was the head of the Persian army, it was 1 million of them, and the 300 Spartans, they were there fighting them off. It's an action film. There's not a lot of words in it. It's mostly fighting. It's mostly blood and guts. But there is one little phrase in it. Now, King Xerxes, I'm getting to the point, don't worry. King Xerxes, he had like his finest fighting men, about all these million, he's sort of like special forces, the olden days SAS, if you like, they were called the Invincibles. And King Leonidas, he turned around and said, "Oh, Invincibles, we'll put that name to the test." I mean, he wasn't Sean Connery, it was Gerard Butler, and probably King Leonidas was Greek, with him being Spartan, so he probably sounded nothing like that. He was definitely more Mavropanos than Gerard Butler, but that was it. Invincibles, we'll put that name to the test. And that is what, I didn't actually say exactly that, Mikel Antonio, but more or less, because that's what they are. Xabi Alonso's team are the Invincibles. And I've got to say, I think Antonio was getting a little bit fed up with how everybody else was calling them brilliant. Now, look, I've got to take some of the responsibility for that. I spent pretty much the last week researching them, doing profiles on them, talking about Grimaldo, talking about Wirtz, talking about Frimpong, all of these players, good players. I mean, honestly, most of their players are fantastic. They're a Champions League team in all but name. Amazing. But I sort of get it from Antonio's point of view, you know. He's probably thinking, I've had enough of all this. And what he's pretty much said is, look, you lot have been writing West Ham off. Don't write us off, because we've been here before. I've been at this club a long time. I'm paraphrasing him here. And we have proved you wrong time and time and time again. And do you know what? He's absolutely right. And I do think it's time that we started having a little bit of confidence in ourselves, or a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith, because so many are thinking that we're going to get trampled over. And do you know what? There's something else, and something that I mentioned when I was with Gio on the preview. We're the champions. We are the champions. All right, not of this tournament, but we are Conference League champions. There's only one team in this contest. I don't know why I'm holding up 2 fingers. There's only one team in this contest who's got the European trophy, and it ain't Bayer Leverkusen. It ain't the Invincibles. And it's like, I was going to say, like Antonio said, we'll put that name to the test. He didn't say it. It was King Leonidas and me. But at some point, this cloak of invincibility is going to get lost in the cloakroom or whatever. It's going to get torn up. It's going to get shredded. It's going to get put in that metal charity bin for unwanted clothes they got in Tesco. Like, my point is, the invincibility is going to go. It's going to go. And I'm not even saying tonight's going to be the night. And maybe I'm getting a little bit overexcited here, but why not? Why not? Because today is a European quarter-final. Why not get excited? Well, what are you going to do in a year's time when someone says, "Oh, maybe we won't be in Europe next season"? When someone says, "What were you doing? What were you doing on the night of that quarter-final?" And you're going to turn around and say, "Actually, no, I'd already given up. I couldn't be bothered with it. I knew we were going to lose. Nah, not for me." Do you know what? I moan a lot about David Moyes, and he deserves it, by the way. But there's one thing you cannot question over the last few years, is his record in Europe with West Ham. It's brilliant. Even in the Europa League, back before, okay, we went out to Frankfurt. I can make mitigating circumstances for that. Well, I can blame Aaron Cresswell a little bit. I thought the referee was absolutely atrocious in the first leg, and I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what was happening. When we went and played over in Frankfurt, the stewards, like sort of 10 minutes before the game, started encouraging the fans to pitch side. The stewards of Frankfurt organised a pitch invasion. Never seen anything like it. I'll tell you what, I've seen UEFA put people on a naughty step for far less than what Frankfurt did that night. I'm not just blaming it on that, but I can make mitigation. My point is, I thought we were really close. If we'd have managed to keep 11 men on the pitch, I think there was a fair chance that we may well have got through to the final. And do you know what? I think we'd have got through to the final. We would have won it. I really do. Obviously, last year, Conference League, we won that. And there we go. This year, we sailed through the group. Once again, not only we sailed through the group, we went and destroyed a Bundesliga team 5-0. 5-0, Freiburg. I'll tell you something. Bayer Leverkusen haven't beaten Freiburg 5-0 this season. Now, they're a good team. I mean, they're an excellent team. You've got to say, Xabi Alonso is the hottest managerial property in world football at the moment. Fair play to him. He said he's going to stay at Leverkusen. He's turned down Liverpool. He has turned down Bayern Munich. He has. Probably hasn't turned down Real Madrid. Not sure he's been offered the job yet. But he's got the pick of the jobs. He is the hottest property. He looks really, really good. There's no doubt about it. But I'd imagine David Moyes really fancies it here. And to hear a couple of the players, the way that they've spoken, I'll say a couple of players, I'm talking about Vladimir Coufal, who I'm not sure is going to play tonight. He's not been in great form last 2 or 3 games, but to hear him speak, and to hear him speak is important because they got some Czech players there, haven't they? Leverkusen have got some Czech players. He knows all about them. He said he's got some like secret dossier or something like that. He's probably just going to tell them what Patrick Schick plays like and stuff like that. But to hear him speak, he's confident. I liked to hear it. And as hear Michail Antonio speak in the way that he did, you can tell in press conferences when players are going through the motions, they don't want to be there. They're not press trained. And yes, Michail Antonio wasn't speaking in the press conference, but when they just like trot out all the football cliches and platitudes, you can tell it. But you can also tell when people are genuinely excited and there's genuine belief there. And I've got to say, that's what I thought was being delivered by both Antonio and Vladimir Coufal. I did think it was belief, and if they're doing it, everyone's doing it. And if they're all doing it, that's the messaging that's coming from the manager. Look, it's not ideal. Edson Alvarez is a big, big loss. Jarrod Bowen is a big loss. But let's be fair here. We have managed before in Europe without Edson Alvarez, it has to be said. Maybe not so much with Jarrod Bowen, but there are other players there. Not at any point since Jarrod Bowen has been at West Ham have we had somebody that could actually replace him as a right winger. Well, we do now. Kudus is a sensational right winger. I don't know which one of them's best, but the fact that it's a conversation means that we've got someone to step in. It's not like we've got Robert Snodgrass stepping in to cover for Jarrod Bowen. Do you know what I mean? This is not Yarmolenko coming in there. We have got a top-class player, and you wouldn't be surprised if at some point during the season somebody said, oh, Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or Manchester City are in Mohamed Kudus, you'd think, yeah, he's at that sort of level, isn't he? So we can get through this. And I'm not saying that we smash the Invincibles on this one. I'm not even saying there's any smashing going on. And to be fair, King Leonidas did actually did end up dying. But that's a million Persians, right? But they did have their day. And every dog has their day. And here's what I think. They're not going to be invincible. They're not going to be unbeaten forever. They've got a really big game coming up at the weekend where they can win the title. Xabi Alonso said we're not thinking about that. We're concentrating only on West Ham. I'd expect him to say that. I mean, there's got to be some flaw there, hasn't there? There has to be something. He can't be the complete manager. Gio said this. He can't be the complete manager during his first ever season, proper season, full season of being a manager. Come on. There's going to be some weaknesses there. You got the new against the old. And that's obviously Alonso against David Moyes. A brand new manager against a manager that's done over 1,000 games. Come on, Moisey. You must have picked up a few tricks during that time. Anyway, I'm going to go now because we've got an event tonight, which I hope if you're not there, then if you ain't got nothing to do tonight and you're just going to be at home watching a game, if you think you get to Stratford or more importantly Hackney Wick, I will put a link in the description below. Myself and Gio are going to be doing a build-up show. I'll probably be as excited as I am now, even if not even more so. This is a big event. This is a big occasion. I'm really looking forward to it. Check out the link below for the Colour Factory. If you want to join myself and Gio in the Hammers Chat section, I think that's the third option down when you go into the checkout and you go and book your ticket. Come and join us. We'd love to see you. We're going to do a build-up show, half an hour, and then we're going to, sit down. We're going to sit down and watch the game together. There'd be no sitting down. There'd be no sitting down at all. Why would we? We're like King Leonidas.
This is Sparta!